Podcasters Wallace Brydon and Teddy Kraft are discussing a video where a guy accidentally chops off his own leg with a katana. Wallace heads to Canada to interview this guy, only to find out he's committed suicide. Bummed out by a failed interview, Wallace spends the night drinking in a bar. In a bathroom, he finds a bizarre ad from an old man offering free lodging in exchange for sharing life stories. Wallace, thinking why not, calls the guy and sets up a meeting.
Room I'm interested in as much as you, Mr. Howe.
Because answering creepy bathroom ads is always a great idea. Wallace finds the mansion deep in the woods and meets Howard Howe, an old man in a wheelchair, who invites him in.
It's great. It's nice to meet you.
Pleasure. Could I interest you in some tea?
Over tea, Howe, a former sailor, shares tales of his life. On one expedition, his ship hit an iceberg in Anadir Gulf and sank. Walrus saved him from the icy waters, mistaking him for a fellow walrus. Howe named the walrus Mr. Tusk and has since revered walruses as the greatest creatures on Earth. Because of course, who wouldn't? After a few cups of tea, Wallace passes out.
Ha! Why are you stopping?
I don't want you to go to Canada tomorrow.
Okay, I won't go to Canada. Just finish.
When he wakes up, he finds himself in a wheelchair with a blanket over his legs. Pulling back the blanket, he's horrified to see one leg amputated below the knee.
Itty-bitty spider.
Let me out of this chair, you fucking psycho!
Howe, who can suddenly walk just fine, reveals his plan is going to turn Wallace into a walrus to give his savior a second chance at life. Wallace realizes he's in deep trouble but can't escape. He manages to send a message to his girlfriend Allison and co-host Teddy, who are sleeping together at that time, saying that a crazy guy in a mansion in the woods has cut off his leg. Howe then takes Wallace's phone and knocks him out.
You will be a walrus.
Allison and Teddy rush to Canada, where Detective Garman tells them there is no record of Howard Howe, but recalls a former cop obsessed with a serial killer. When Wallace wakes up again, his other leg is also amputated. His arms are sewn to his ribs, and some of his teeth are missing. Howe starts telling Wallace, now only able to grunt, about his tragic life. As a child, he witnessed robbers kill his parents and was sent to an orphanage, then a psychiatric hospital, where he was abused by priests and politicians. He escaped to the US and ended up on a ship. Following Garman's advice, Allison and Teddy meet turned-amateur detective Guy Lapointe, who has been hunting a serial killer who mutilates victims by cutting off their legs and sewing their arms to their torsos. Lapointe believes the killer has already claimed 23 victims, trying to turn them into monsters. The trio sets out to find Howe's address, thanks to two girls at a convenience store who remember Wallace because he's American, because Americans are just that memorable.
Hashtag thanks. Hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and write on you.
To complete Wallace's transformation into a walrus, Howe takes him to a basement pool with fake rocks and ocean sounds. He starts calling Wallace Mr. Tusk, like his walrus savior, in tears, grunting and wearing a walrus suit made of human skin with tusks crafted from his amputated legs and bones. Wallace lies by the pool. Howe tells him walruses can't cry and pushes him into the water to teach him to swim. Wallace sees his fate at the bottom of the pool, a decomposed body with tusks, impressing Howe with his walrus tenacity. Howe throws him a fish, which Wallace reluctantly eats, because when life gives you fish, you eat it. Howe finishes his story. Starving, he had to kill and eat his walrus savior just before being rescued by a passing ship. Haunted by guilt, Howe is obsessed with recreating the walrus and giving it a second chance to defeat humanity. Howe dons a walrus suit and a brutal fight takes place. Wallace, embracing his inner walrus, impales Howe with his tusks. Allison, Teddy and Guy burst into the basement, shocked by what they see, because who wouldn't be? A year later at a zoo, Allison and Teddy visit a pen and throw fish down. Wallace, now fully a walrus, emerges, having lost all traces of his humanity. Allison tells him she still loves him and recalls her grandfather's words that tears distinguish us from animals. Wallace the walrus looks up as Allison and Teddy leave. Wallace cries, because even walruses need a good cry sometimes. Thanks a lot for watching Beat the Popcorn. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.